Hello and welcome to Coldesi. In this video we're going to show you how to assemble the stand for a Avance 1501 compact embroidery machine. Okay, so I'm going to go over with you what all comes with it first before we start assembling. You've got your bag of bolts and nuts all in one package right here. This box right here is your casters that go on the bottom of the stand. And that's going to be the last thing that we put on. That's our casters right there. Okay, then we have a lower table. We have an upper table. And the two sides of the stand, they come just like this, taped up together. And then you have one cross member piece right here. So we're going to go ahead and cut these open, get everything unwrapped and ready to assemble. Okay, we're going to go over the tools that you're going to need to assemble your Avance stand. You have a tool kit that comes with your embroidery machine that if you open up, you'll see the tools inside. It has a bag with the wrenches, screwdrivers, Allen wrenches, and a black wrench that is this size right here is a 13 millimeter. That's the size that you're going to use to tighten the nuts on the stand. And also you're going to use Allen wrenches. You're going to have a 5 millimeter Allen wrench and a 6 millimeter Allen wrench. Okay, so those are the tools that you will need to assemble your stand. For my purposes, I already have my tools out, a 5 and a 6 millimeter Allen wrench, and I'm going to use a 13 millimeter socket, which if you do have, you can use, or you can use the one with the toolbox. And that's all the tools you'll need to assemble the stand. Okay, we now have everything unwrapped and we're ready to go through our assembly process. So we're going to go back over our pieces again. We have the two sides of the stand right here, left and right. We have the cross member that goes between the two. We have our casters that go on the bottom. All of our assembly pieces, our nuts and bolts, are all in this one bag right here. We have our lower table and we have our upper table. Okay, so first thing I want to do is lay out all of our bolts and nuts. Okay, so here we have our bolts and nuts all separated by their sizes. We have these sets of bolts here that have just a smooth round top. These bolts are going to go in the tables, so you don't have a nut sticking out. And we have all the nuts that go with those bolts. The smaller Allen bolts all have a lock washer and a flat washer that go with those. These all go with the casters right here. Okay, and then we have 7 of the bigger Allen bolts that have a lock washer and a flat washer to go with those. Those are going to be for our cross member piece. Okay, so once you got them all separated out, now you're ready to assemble your stand. Okay, we now have everything unwrapped and we're ready to go through our assembly process. So we're going to go back over our pieces again. We have the two sides of the stand right here, left and right. We have cross member that goes between the two. We have our casters that go on the bottom. We have our lower table and we have our upper table. Okay, we're ready to start assembling the stand now. We have our two sides ready to go. Now these have angle pieces on the inside where the tables go. You want to be sure to put those both on the inside. We don't want them sticking out like this. This is the wrong way to go. So make sure they're both to the inside. That's where our tables go. And also it does have a front and a back. The back has the two holes where our cross member is going to go on each side. So be sure and turn them both the same way so the holes are both on the same side and the angles are facing in. Okay, so we're ready to install our first cross member piece. Now this does have two sides. It's smooth on one side, and you see it goes in on the other side. This is where our bolts are going to go. The smooth side will go to the back side of the machine. So have those facing out. It's going to go just like this. Okay, so we want to take one of our bigger bolts, big Allen bolts, and that takes the 6mm Allen wrench. And you can actually just put it in on the Allen wrench right there, and you're going to feed it right through this hole on the side. You take it and put it right through there so that it's sticking out through the hole back here. And that's where our cross member is going to hang. So we'll put our cross member up right there. And then we're going to put a flat washer. We're going to put a locking washer. And then our 13mm nut will go on there. Okay, and we don't want to tighten it up. We just want to get it loosely in there. And you're going to repeat the same thing for the last 3 bolts. Okay, so we have our cross member in place with all 4 bolts installed loosely, so everything can move around a little bit, and we have room to put our table in. So the next part is going to be our bottom table down here, and that's going to be the smaller table. There is no front or back, top or bottom, so it doesn't matter how you put it in there. You can just slide it into place, and as you can see, there's 3 holes in the bracket on each side, and they just line up with the table. So we're now going to use our carriage bolts, which is a round flat head, to go through each one. It's going to go just like that with only a nut down on the bottom. Okay, so we're going to put all 6 of those in place and loosely tighten those up. Okay, we've got our bottom table installed. Again, the bolts are just in there loose. We don't want to tighten anything up yet. So we're going to put our top table on. And the top table, again, it does not have a top or bottom, but it does have a front and back. You want the opening in the table to go up to the front of the machine. Okay, and again, it has 3 holes that'll go into the holes in the bottom. So we want to use, once again, our flat carriage bolts to go right through the hole into the table. Okay, we're going to do that with each one, and it takes, again, a 13mm nut right down on the bottom. Okay, and we're going to continue to do all 6 of our bolts. Okay, now that we've got all 6 of our bolts installed loosely, we're going to go ahead and tighten them up, the top and the bottom bolts. So I'm going to use my 13mm socket. Now you can use a supplied wrench that's in the toolbox, or you can use your socket. And we're just going to go ahead and tighten this up. And you'll see this pull down into the table. Okay, and you just want to you don't want to crank it real tight. You just want to get that to where it's flush. You see how this is sticking up? You want this one down flush with even with the table, and that's good. And we're going to do all 6 of these up here, and all 6 of the bottom ones the same way. Okay, we've got all of our bolts tightened down. Our table is good and sturdy right at this moment. The next step is to put the casters on. So we need to flip the table over for doing that. So just turn it over. Okay, and our casters are going to go up here. So we'll put one in place. Again, it's 4 of the small bolts. We have 4 holes and 4 threaded holes in the stand. So they're going to go in place. We'll use the small 5mm Allen bolt with a flat washer and then a lock washer, and then it's going to go right in place right here. Okay, and again, before you tighten any of them up, get all 4 of them started before we tighten them up. Okay, so we've got all of our bolts started for casters. So now we just want to tighten them up, and we want to get them good and tight. So use your 5mm Allen wrench and crank them pretty tight so that they won't come loose. What you're going to end up doing is kind of flattening out the lock washer a little bit, and that's what holds it in place and keeps it from coming loose. So be sure and get them good and tight. You just see it kind of helps to move the wheel out of your way so that you can get them tight and get the Allen wrench in there. Just kind of move that wheel out of the way. Okay, so we've got those 2 all tight, and I just finished the same thing for your last 2 casters so that all 16 bolts are all good and tight. Okay, now these casters have adjustable feet on them so that once you get your machine in place and you have it where you want it, you want to raise these up. If you just turn this yellow piece right here, you'll see this pad will come up. And basically, when you have it the other way around, it's lowering it, and that's going to put it right on the ground so your casters won't roll. That'll keep your machine in place. Okay, the last part of the assembly process is putting the caps over the holes where we put our bolts in at. So it has a little plastic caps here. We just want to pop in place. Like that. Okay, and then repeat for the other side. And okay, now your stand for your Avance 1501 is ready to use.